Welcome, vampires and vampirettes and cat girls and cat boys and whatever you're going as for her Halloween this year. Welcome to the only anime and simulcast discussion podcast this side of Transylvania. I am one of your hosts, a random sexy Halloween outfit, JJ. I'm joined by my co-hosts, a guy in a gorilla suit, Alex.
Too spooky 5 me, yo.
And a pink-haired psycho girl outfit, Stranger.
Yeah.
And today we shall talk about anime, though I don't think we've been watching that much Halloween-themed ones this week. Anyways, but first, on to our weeks. So, what have you been doing, Stranger?
Pretty much the exact same persona and completely ignoring anything that's not simulcast.
Yeah. That's about it? Oh.
And guess more Smash, but yeah, I haven't really been doing that much.
Yeah. Me, it has been mostly school, but I've also been playing plenty of Shantae and the Pirate's Curse, and I have gotten back to playing Warframe since update 15 added a bunch of new content. And also I've gotten several DVDs I've ordered, the first being both seasons of Wagnaria from This America, and the Ghost Stories, which I pretty much kind of impulse buyed after like 3 episodes.
Man,
Which,
SK just sucked you in hardcore after the last
yeah,
podcast.
yeah,
I
like
gotta watch it eventually because just the dub seems.
it,
It's,
they,
it's,
I've only
the things
gotten,
you tweeted out that they said.
yeah, I've only gotten through half, like 12 or 11 episodes without 20, but yeah, it's it's probably some of the funniest lines I've heard from Monica Rial and Chris Patton and Greg Harris. It's just they are really don't care about the original plot at all.
Yeah, if it was paying attention to the original plot, it would have sucked a lot.
Yeah, like just the bits and pieces I get from the original plot from the visuals and stuff. Yeah, it hasn't aged well both visually and
So
I can
yeah.
imagine the writing being pretty awful.
So what was the reason they just pretty much had fun with the dub?
I- I'm guessing. Well, to be fair, the series came out in like 2000, and they didn't dub it until like 2006. So, there, for starters, there's a long difference between when they got it and when they dubbed it. Plus, it really doesn't look. It hasn't aged at all that well, especially for a series from 2000. Like there have been other series that have aged better than it, but even for something from 2000, it doesn't look that good. And just the bits I get from the original plot, it's not that well written. But I have no idea why they actually did it. Maybe they just thought, it's probably not going to sell well if we just do a straight dub. So let's just have fun with it, and it will probably sell more.
Hmm.
Which I'm
I
guessing
read
it
that. I read that
does.
they actually got the blessings from the original studio.
Huh.
It,
And
well, I'm
that's
not sure because
yeah,
I was just reading something.
yeah. I've been wondering about that as I've watched it because it has very little to anything to do with the original plot writing. At least I can see, and it has so many unnecessary yet funny lines in it. Like all of Monica Rial is just like uber like crazy Christian sort of lines to her character, and of course the most famous one from Chris Patton is "So I'm nailing this midget when my mom walks in."
It's real.
It is real, and the only thing I had that I was going to comment on is the second the season 2 Wagnaria. I got a limited edition because This America is usually like only they usually only release some stuff with limited editions. which is annoying because I really wanted Katana Gatari's DVDs, but they aren't releasing them anymore. But anyways, the Wagnaria season 2 box is just huge. Like it's the art book is very long, so it's about the same size as the art book. And the DVDs are like side by side inside of it, so it's like the
Mhm.
size of two DVD cases. So I'm not sure how I'm going to fit it in my collection.
Yeah, you tweeted a picture of yourself. Like, what the hell am I supposed to do with this?
Yeah.
Just just stand it vertically on the side of the shelf. That's what I would do.
I don't know. Maybe I'll put it
Either that or just
somewhere
get like
else.
I don't know, maybe start getting trying to think what I'm thinking. Whatever.
Yeah.
Just get a new shelf, start a new one.
I do need to get
'Cause, I
new
mean,
shelf
the other thing, like
eventually.
yeah, the picture that you tweeted out, you had a pretty full
Yeah,
shelf of
it's
anime
almost
there. So
completely full right now. And that's pretty much been it for my week.
But yeah, you could totally call Ghost Stories your Halloween
Oh
series now.
yeah, yeah, pretty much.
Because it's obviously horror based.
Well, it originally, I suppose you could call
Well,
it
they
dark
just.
humor now. Like, say, it could probably be called the equivalent of, say, the scary movie series. But
That's about exactly right.
yeah,
Like SK actually had me watch a few episodes a few months ago. I didn't really find it my kind of humor, but it wasn't bad.
yeah. And well, how about you, Alex?
just been playing a lot of Team Fortress, Deus Ex, Fable. Yeah, I actually haven't played that since like Thursday, but as well as Plants vs Zombies. And I also started still about a little less than half, a little more than halfway through Excel Saga now.
Hmm.
I haven't watched in a few days because I've been focused. Whenever I am able to watch stuff, I just focus on simulcasts.
Hmm.
But far enough where the dubs, the person who replaced Jessica Calvello came in, and I also started what's it called, Tatami Galaxy.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's what I've been doing.
All right.
If not that, I've been trying to get back into reading the manga I've been reading because I haven't really touched them in a while.
Okay. Anything else we want to talk about in our weeks? No? Okay, let's move on to simulcasts. So, what did you think of the new Log Horizon?
Hmm. It made it's still like generally enjoyable, but
Yeah,
it was easily the weakest episode so far,
I'll
in my
agree,
opinion.
though it definitely added some more character development for Akatsuki, which
But
has
at the
been
same, that's a double-edged sword because at the same
yeah,
time, I didn't find it particularly interesting.
yeah, I'll
So
agree. But next episode is just the grounds laying they did in this episode. I think I'll the next episode will be pretty interesting. But
Well,
uh,
with the extra character development for Akatsuki this week, it actually made me like her like even less.
hmm,
Like she just seems like a really whiny.
hmm,
My
yeah, like I
lord,
was gonna, yeah,
stereotype.
that's, and I actually find myself like I saw your
yeah,
tweet, Stranger, and I was like, it can't be that bad.
hmm,
And when I watched the episodes, like it gets to a point, especially when she starts like complaining about that younger chick.
yeah,
Yeah,
Can't remember her
that was
name.
horrible.
yeah,
It's
Midori.
like, and that's sort of part of the problem. Like, her development lies in being a love interest for Shiroe.
yeah.
So
That's definitely the problem.
that's the biggest problem with Akatsuki. That's pretty much all her character development's ever going to be, probably. And
Yeah,
as it is, romance. And I say this because the last few episodes of Log Horizon in the first season, before I get the actual last episode, were probably I think the weakest, and they focused
yeah,
more on like the romance aspects, or pretty much when nothing was really going on, romance is part of the story.
yeah.
And I honestly don't find that to be Log Horizon's strength, like at all. It's probably
No,
probably
it's
one of the
definitely
weaker.
one of its weaker
Yeah,
points.
it's probably the series. Like, if I had to pick the biggest weakness so far in the series, romance, or I guess like that kind of like
Yeah,
character development is what hasn't really done very well at all so far.
yeah.
And I found like I personally find it's like such a, especially last episode. Like I said, I still enjoyed it, but
Yeah,
compared to like everything they're doing in the raid.
yeah. I'll
Like to
definitely
me
agree.
that's like the raid is like to me displaying Log Horizon at its best when its
Yeah,
characters are actually doing something in the world.
Yeah, that's
So,
I'd say like the mm, original light novel author's other series, Maoyu. It
mhm,
did the romance elements all right, but that was because the main two characters were, well, they're basically equivalent of married couple. So it could, but then again, their characters were kind of unimportant compared to all the side characters in that series, which I was kind of worrying about in like early in the first season of Log Horizon, but they're starting to come back to developing the main characters now. But in Maoyu, the romance elements actually did work somewhat for the main characters, but at the same time, when it did pretty well on the economic and warfare side. So I'm not sure if that series got more development in both of those areas, it might have been on par with Log Horizon, I think. But
mhm.
since it's only like halfway through and it's just like uh only give basically leads into a read the original work sort of ending, and it's yeah, it just didn't finish.
Yeah. And I just sort of find it unfortunate because I still like Akatsuki as a character. It's just that, and I sort of think I really wish they could do better with her.
Yeah,
But
definitely.
and it's like, last episode just made her very uninteresting, and it sort of just makes it clear that this, because I don't read the light novels or anything, so I guess it just makes it clear that she's pretty much nothing more in terms of like outside of action. She's nothing more than a love interest,
Yeah.
and it kind of reflected like as badly as it did in the last episode. Because I agree with Stranger, she just sort of
Yeah.
came off as whiny.
Yeah, I'll definitely agree with that.
That and just like completely obsessed with Shidoway.
Well, everyone is obsessed with Shiro. It's like he has five characters that are in some ways love interests to him.
Hmm.
And then there's that one chick at the end of season one that was like, she was obsessed with him for some random reason. I actually kind of know the reason, sort of, but anywho. Anything else about Log Horizon?
Uh, I was a little confused. Is that chick who came
Uh,
across a dark Santa Claus? Is she actually dead, or
I think
is
it
it she
sounds
is?
like she's just wounded from the preview, but
Because
yeah.
actually, when I watched the preview, it said, you know, so and so's ally is wounded. Who is the murderer? It's like,
Yeah, that's
I'm
weird.
not. Is that just a bad translation there, or
I have no idea. I'd imagine it was just a wound since it's in Log Horizon's universe, but I'm not.
yeah?
Hmm,
Like I said, I'm just wondering because like it said first in the next episode preview it says like she's wounded,
yeah.
and then it just says it treats it like the guy's a murderer afterwards.
Hmm,
Unless they're talking in context, maybe she gets resurrected, and like she respawns essentially, and maybe she actually in that respect she dies. But
I
I don't
don't
know. We have to
know.
wait. We have
I
to wait, I
don't think
guess.
that'll be how it sets up, since if everything so far has been going in Log Horizon's logic, the world's logic, sort of like when you die, it's just a respawn.
Yeah,
I mean, you do lose some
memory.
memory, but otherwise, it's you still live.
I
And
can't really remember any of the adventurers bleeding before though.
And
yeah,
that's why I was wondering about it too.
yeah,
It's like
that's weird.
does this guy have like a weapon that can actually kill people in the game?
Or maybe it's like how in the not in the non-combat zone, you'll be more it'll be more like you're in say the real world maybe. I don't know. Because before, if players attacked, it was always the guardians that would, or not guardians, whatever the defender, the anti-peace player killer
Hmm.
defenses. But he said that, but the killer, the guy with the sword, said that they wouldn't be coming, which I think. in the beginning of this season, that was a plot point that was brought up. I think something about them, at least. So I have no idea. Anyways, anything else about Log Horizon? All right. Moving on. Have you catched the last Rage of Bahamut?
Yeah, that was a really good
Oh
episode.
yeah, that's probably my favorite episode of this season so
Like,
far.
I would say I've really liked the series up to the point, but I wasn't so like you where you said this is my favorite. Throughout all the shows I'm watching, I'm still juggling between I guess like Shirobako or Rage of Bahamut as like my two favorite shows. This episode of Rage of Bahamut like pretty much put it at the top for me,
Yeah,
unless next episode of Shirobako turns out like blow it out of the
yeah.
water
It's
somehow.
I just
But just like to me,
yeah,
it finally it, you know, finally sort of nailed that feeling. It's like, yeah, this is gonna be a really good show,
yeah.
probably.
Honestly, I just replaced a Scrap Princess for the closest thing I've seen to a D&D style adventure in an anime series. It's like just they use so many tropes in it, but they just did it so freaking refreshingly, and all the characters were just fun while they did it. Like the whole
Hmm.
tightrope thing, and then the pirates turning into zombies by Rita's necromancer staff and
Hmm.
bite, and then attacking the fishmen.
Yeah.
And it's just
Like I said, and it provided a good bit of backstory for the characters too. So
yeah,
you finally understand what exactly happened to Kaiser's father. You finally understand, um, oh Christ, what the fuck is his name again? Uh,
Favreau.
yeah, you finally understand Favreau's place in
Yeah,
Kaiser's past.
yeah,
And like I said, just really, I was surprised how well it sort of fleshed out the story now.
yeah. And
'Cause,
and I
also,
and I also loved all the like the tasty gag that
uh,
Amira was constantly doing,
I
and
also
then
like the whole would a face like this lie or
yeah,
these lying eyes and just puts a fish on his
two
face.
fishes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's some and then with the whole thing at the end with the giant tentacle from the sky castle place coming and grabbing both Amira and Kaiser, and then leaving Rita with Favreau.
Hmm.
I'm interested to see how their character dynamic will work out now.
Yeah. He'll probably just look at Rita as like a brat or something like that, or
Yeah,
just that's what he'll probably just look at her as. Because
yeah,
more than likely he's gonna assume that she's dead.
yeah.
More than likely, because they
Oh,
left before,
yeah.
Kaiser. So
And plus, there's a bunch of zombies with her,
yeah.
zombie pirates. Like I can imagine my D&D group doing something like that, like just somehow coming across a Raise the Dead
Are you
scroll.
talking about all the people on Twitter would probably be
Yeah,
like piss
like
zombies instead?
oh god, please don't give them ideas. They will do that. Yes, for those of
Piss
you who
zombies.
don't know, I'm me, Tyler, or some of you might know him as Sorry Jazargo, and Greg, or some of you might know him as either Codex or Machina
Machina Vault.
Volt
Yeah.
on Twitter, and a couple of others do usually weekly D&D games through Skype. And well, let's just say several campaigns ago, Sin's character was a piss obsessed dwarf, and we one time he did a bad roll where he sketched random demonic runes, and one of the other characters who I can't remember who played him as, like I think it might have been DW or I don't know, but basically he infused some magic into that rune, and he kind of rolled a one, which in tabletop games is like an instant fail, D whereas if you roll a 20 is always success. So Greg, who was DMing at the time, basically decided that we'd summon a piss demon, and that's how that began. Just this piss obsessed dwarf character who I might mention, whose favorite lines were usually like, "She left me for a taller man," or I pissed in your mother's garden. It's yeah, we're all murder hobos in that campaign, or most of our campaigns actually. But basically, a lot of the stuff they're doing in, say, Rage of Bahamut is like stuff I can imagine seeing in either in my D&D group sometime in the future. But let's see. Anything else about Rage of Bahamut Genesis?
Nothing besides the opening just keeps on getting better and better.
Oh yes. That opening is probably the best I've heard all year. It's just so freaking good. Just the song and the visuals together, and it's just I so want the full version of that song. Let's see. If we have nothing else to talk about Rage of Bahamut, let's move on. So, let's see. Gugure Kokkuri-san. Er, I thought it was a bit one of the not quite as good as the last couple of episodes were, honestly. I mean, it had some funny moments, but altogether it was kind of bland compared to the last couple.
I mean, I sort of thought, I'm not sure what you thought. I thought the second half was a little bit like a downer. Like it
Yeah,
wasn't as good for me. I mean, the whole gag of Kokiri being worried about Kohina in school
yeah.
was funny, but otherwise I just didn't
They
find it
didn't.
that funny.
Yeah, they
But,
didn't really bring out the funniness of the moment. Like you had a freaking alien who made ET and Alien references, and then and I think Men in Black maybe, but it just wasn't that funny for some reason.
I will say the Tanuki part,
Oh yeah,
most of the Tanuki first half was
yeah.
pretty funny because
Like yeah,
especially it's like okay, we'll flip heads and tails for it.
yeah.
That that coin is two side is one is the same on both sides, isn't it? He just answers, yeah, it is. And I just like cracked up that part because he just like wasn't gonna bullshit.
Yeah,
Cool.
and the humanoid Tanuki.
Yeah. Just running around chasing Kohina.
That's the second time she's been chased around by a freak. Oh, another thing I wanted to mention is like half the cast, the main cast in Gugure Kokkuri-san are basically characters in Log Horizon. Like the voice actor who does the Tanuki guy, he voiced Nyanta in Log Horizon, and the Inogami's male Seiyu voiced Krusty. And
Which is weird because it doesn't really.
yeah,
Yeah, I never would have
I
guessed
didn't,
that.
I wouldn't have guessed that either. And apparently his female voice did Nuraha in that one chick I was talking about earlier who randomly had the hots for Shiro in the last arc of
Hmm.
season one. Yeah,
And then of course the guy who does Kokuri's in a bunch of shit. So
yeah, yeah. Kokuri is Daisuke Ono. And another thing about Niraha's voice actors, I think she did Umio in Seokai Yakundomo. That one, the other president chick with the ponytails.
uh, hmm,
Not ponytails, pigtails.
yeah. Who is this? The lady who does the female
Uh,
Inugami?
Let me bring it up. I should have written it down. See, anything else about Guguri Kokuri-san while I look it up?
Not that I can think.
Umio, she is voiced by Chiwa Saito. She and
This this is the same one who does from the Monogatari series.
who?
Senjo Gahara.
Hmm?
Oh really? Wow.
Yeah.
And she also does Hamiura from Madoka Magica.
Let's see. Broken Sequence. Oh, interesting. And she also did the Chief Maid in Maoyu. Let's see. Uh, Anywho. Well, I guess if we have nothing else to talk about in Gugure Kokkuri-san, what did you guys think of the latest Amagami Brilliant Park?
That was a good episode.
Yeah,
Uh,
it had
what's
I
her face?
Sento.
Sento pretty much like taking
Yeah,
charge
yeah,
and pretty much showing her that and how in what respect she's good.
yeah. It
Like even
definitely
though
had to.
that like
Yeah,
it pretty much says that she's not used to like she didn't really know how to run the park, being that she had like a sort of military background, and so she's just doing it as best as she can manage.
yeah. It definitely had a lot of nice characterization for Sento, but what was that blurred out thing the pink cat mascot
I
was
don't know.
holding?
Do you even want to know?
Probably not. Or maybe I do. Also,
Uh,
those kindergarten kids are probably the most horrifying children in any anime series ever.
Our real horror anime of the week.
Yes, just those kids are just so freaking scary. And how they got Sento in like wrestling holds.
Yeah, the one, having been a wrestling fan for a while growing up, I recognized immediately the figure four leg lock. So I just my mind when I was watching it, my mind just went to Ric Flair for some reason.
Yeah, and let's see. Anything else to comment about that episode?
I wonder what happened with what's his face, Seiyu, whatever his name is.
Kanye?
Yeah, Kanye.
Kanye-sama?
Yeah.
Kanye West.
What exactly happened that he's like so scared of heights? Because it almost seems to imply he was like skydiving or something, or like a skydiving accident.
Uh, I imagine he would be a little too young if it's going
I
back
don't know,
to.
because he's just like because him flashing back, he's just like falling through,
Hmm?
falling to from the sky. So that's why I ask, or that's why I'm wondering
I have no
exactly what
idea.
happened.
Could be just some symbolic or something, and it was had some maybe it had something to do with him on the stage or something.
It
Um,
made it sound like he developed a fear of heights because he was supposed to do something with it.
hmm,
So that way he could get out of it and not have to keep acting anymore.
hmm.
My nigga.
What was that?
My brother being stupid.
Today's guest star, Stranger's brother. Okay. Do we have anything else we want to talk about Megami Brilliant Park? No?
Not that I can think of now.
All right. I guess you guys can move on to Grisaia. Grisaia.
So
Sorry.
Grecia?
I can't pronounce it, all right?
I have a hard
And
time
that's
spelling it. It's one thing to be able not to pronounce it. Well, we talked about it on the show before.
Yeah.
that's right after Amagami Brilliant Park.
Actually, I
Am-
think it's we do it
Amagi.
Magi. Okay. I guess you guys can
Yeah,
talk about it since I haven't watched it.
I caught
So
up and I enjoyed it quite a bit.
quite a bit.
Yep.
I seem to remember you saying something about being damn good.
Yeah, to me it's the same one, the same, quite a bit, damn good. What's the difference? But like, I'm not sure if I'll. Sorry, I'm not sure if I'll jump to saying it's my favorite of the season so far because it's more of like does have more of a dramatic element, but it is I think pretty good so far and probably top three or top four shows.
Yeah, this is still so good. Like, especially what did you think of the ending this week?
What did I think?
Yeah,
I thought it was sort of. I was really sad for the cat, or I was like sort of sad for the cat. He just she's just looking for the cat, and then you just see he recognizes that, or he saw that it got run over, so he pretty much to try to avoid her seeing it, he sends her back to the school. Like I said, I thought just with the cat just gradually dying in her arms, sort of sad.
would you like to take a moment break to cough that all out?
Sorry, hold on.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
Okay, you good now?
Yeah.
But yeah, that just like the first episode, that just took a dark turn there.
Yeah.
And I,
Well, and I'm still wondering about the first episode because actually my brother was reading threads about the series on and he was saying that there's a lot
there's
more.
spoilers, I'll kill you.
No, there's no spoilers, believe me. He just sort of like, and he didn't like. He was saying what he was reading from what's to come in the as the series goes along. He says it's a lot funnier than the show sort of seems like it would be. And he said there's some pretty good stuff coming up. So I'm guessing it's going to take more, like, still has the comedy with the drama as well. So, yeah.
Yeah, just like how well it transitions between that. Like when it
And
gets
that's
funny, it
actually the
gets
one thing,
like
like, yeah, it goes like, it pretty much seamlessly goes from funny scenes to dramatic scenes. Like, I actually was really impressed by the part in episode 4 when him and the blonde chick, they wound up kissing. Because,
immature.
like, yeah. Because it never feels like, then suddenly this. It just sort of flows together really well. Pretty much like the whole episode.
Yeah, like everything just works to its advantage. It'll be sitting there just being like really freaking funny one moment, and then all of a sudden like when he saw that cat, like well, like what exactly was it that we were talking about right before then? Uh, yeah, like they were talking about like a joke when he just looks over and sees that cat, and then he's trying to get her to go home,
Yeah.
but then it just flows right into that dramatic moment where the cat's dying and she sees it.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
actually, that's just a weird thing because when you think about it, right before that, before like switching or actually, no, I'm actually thinking of a scene far back from that. Is it that the scene before they're running over? They find the cat that she puts her hand in shit, or is
that
that
was
earlier in the
the
episode?
scene before.
Was
But
that the
yeah,
scene? Like, are you talking about directly before the whole thing happened?
well, the thing I would think of that I can't remember was like she was talking about sexual harassment and like Miss like mispronounced it as sexy horror show. But yeah, that's what they were talking about. Like when he looked up the cat because they were standing out in the road during that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that kid just appeared out of nowhere just for that gag. Like they were just completely alone on top of that cliff, just talking, and then just all of a sudden he's just sitting right there with his dog. Hey kid, clean this up right now. That was just
I never really
amazing.
stopped to think about it. It's like, that kid's probably never gonna be seen again. It's like completely out of the world. And that's sort of the thing. That's the weird thing about the show so far that, it really just takes place within the school. It's only the six of them, five of them, and six, right?
Yeah,
So
the
five girls and
two girl man,
yeah,
and then the
and
occasional like minor character, like the one blind girl from the last episode, and then the principal.
and it's like it felt weird to have somebody from outside of that like setting just come in for pretty much like what you said, a gag. It's like, hey, come, like, clean this up. Because more than likely, it's like one of the only characters you're going to see from the outside world, besides like supporting characters of like people from the girl's past or the main guy's handler, and like you said, the principal.
Yeah, like that was the first one seen that's not connected to one of the people.
Hmm.
And yeah, that was just hilarious because they just brought him out of nowhere and then just made him disappear just as quick,
And then they have a cat running over, almost getting pretty much dying right afterwards.
coughing
It's
up
like,
blood in her hands. It's
hmm
just such a interesting change.
like like we said before, it's seamless. It's just like it just sort of flows, to be honest.
Yeah, it does not look like that cat survived. I'm pretty sure it already died.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's something that it actually did differently that I don't think a lot of anime series would did.
Hmm.
Like at most it would have been injured, but be fine the next episode.
That's
Maybe it's
actually what I
not
was
like it's gonna
expecting
be
that
like
they'd
that.
actually get. like maybe to the the hospital, the veterinarian, but it just has the cat dying right there. So,
Yeah, just ride in the taxi.
but
And
I'm just wondering how the next episode's gonna open up because based on the preview, it sort of seems like it's honestly not a preview. Can't speak for the beginning of an episode, of course, but it just sort of seems like it's completely moved on from whatever. More than likely, it'll begin like continuing from that possibly, or like reference like going back to it, but I don't know.
yeah, I'm really interested to see what happens next. It's still just by far my favorite simulcast of the season. It's just so good.
All right. You guys, is there anything else you want to talk about Grisaia?
You should
See,
watch
I
it.
I got that right there. All right. Moving on. Next, Inou-Battle, and before we begin, I just want to say this series just put its Lolita character in bondage gear, and of which the main character did sort of say he wanted to wear, and the main character himself calls himself a lolicon. Okay. I suppose Trigger isn't squeamish around bondage gear since Kill la Kill, but what were you guys' thoughts?
Well, it wasn't even like sexual bondage or nothing. It was
No.
just like
To me,
full
to me it looked more like
constraints, like an
yeah,
insane
like
asylum type
yeah,
stuff.
that's
Yeah,
what it looked like to me.
but still.
Because he even said that wasn't what he was imagining.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I
yeah, I
thought it
don't
was
think
funny
they're
the one girl I just find it funny she's dressed as the sun.
It
She
was
was
like
so happy about it too.
she was like those Jimmy Dean
Yeah.
Sun
Oh
commercials.
god,
And let's see.
yeah, the entire dress up scene was just hilarious.
Yeah.
I mean, otherwise, I'm not. I personally didn't know what to think of the episode because I sort of, at some points, found it uninteresting.
Yeah, I was kind of in between because it was enjoyable, but at the same time it didn't really seem to go much anywhere.
And, like that's pretty much exactly what came into my mind. It's like it's really just sort of sticking with the whole. They don't really do anything
Yeah.
at all. So, so I guess for this episode, I got to a point where I was like, sort of just waiting for it to end.
Mm.
So
And
I'm
I'm
not
not
sure.
doing.
I know you said that the series is starting to remind you more and more of Sekai no Ichizan,
Yeah,
but
that's why I'm liking it like more and more each week because exactly like you said, they're not really doing anything with their powers, which I'm absolutely loving that. That's what I was originally hoping for when I started the series. And like this week, there was quite a bit of good character development.
Yeah, I'll definitely agree with that. There definitely was good character development between the main character and what's her face?
For
The
you, I think.
say yeah, her. And
Yeah,
you know,
main character is just getting better and better each week. He dead up reminds
yeah.
me of the protagonist, Sedekai no Ichizan.
Mm. And anything else about Battle?
Oh yeah, you said that thing about him being a lolicon earlier, but I think he was just telling that
Yeah.
yeah,
to her
it was
friend just
just still
so
just made it just. I think what still made it like the weirdest scene is just how enthusiastic he is about everything. So
he just played it up so much. He had the most intense look on his face.
Yeah.
it's- like I said, I had a funny one was I just personally for me, I got to a
Yeah.
point where I was just sort of disinterested.
Oh, by the way, the best line was my strike zone for women lies between 7 and 12 years old.
God.
Just goes so intense
No,
with it.
that line is in particular. I think I saw that line. I went, oh man.
When you open Pandora's box, that's what you
Yeah. Well, I guess moving on. What did you think of the Lord Marksman and Vanadis, Alex.
Talk about something right now. I'm a little busy, so hold on.
Okay, I guess I'll start. I guess why? Yeah, of course they started off, or not started off. Of course, the snake bites that one chick on the breasts, and of course the main character has to suck the poison out. Yeah, on.
Should I add this series to my watch list?
I will say, like, the main characters, both of them actually do have good development, but they just, they're in an Ichi series, and they're the only ones who are trying to take things seriously. It's just
Just
Uh,
call it Ichi.
etchy. Sorry, etchy. I always say
like
Ichi for some reason.
Yeah, you
I
gotta
found
remember
that
Etchy Sketchy.
I sort of found that scene with the when the other girl gets bitten by the snake. Sort of, it's like no wonder why JJ didn't. It's like no wonder why he was making a big deal about this because not only that, but like when he's like he's like trying to like brace to get to suck the venom out. He also pretty much gropes her at the same time. So it's
Yeah,
like that's just sort of the thing. Like with this series, it feels like you have to take with the bad with the bad with the good,
yeah,
and that like sometimes it has some silly fan servicey moments, but like you said, between the main uh, Tigger Vorman and whatever the other girl's name is,
yeah,
and there's like some really good character development, or at
yeah,
least good character interaction.
yeah,
And
definitely.
I will agree, that maid chick just sort of gets really annoying.
Yeah, it's
It's like
aggravating.
at least the one person who's working for that one guy. I can't remember the dude that's coming after Tigger Vorman or Vorn. At least she seems interesting. So
Yeah.
there's potential. Like the War Maidens seem like they're actually interesting characters. But a character from the MC's past, it's like, eh.
Yeah.
Especially because she just pretty much acts like your typical like girl who grew up with the main character.
And who's awfully clingy. It's like,
Yep.
give him his personal space. Ah, this. I really wish, like, if I could, I'd take the main two characters, take them out of the series, give them character redesign, and just put them in any other fantasy series, because they are genuinely good, or generally enjoyable characters, but everything else about the series is just pretty awful. Like
I said
the
I don't have the beef with the animation, but once again you
yeah.
see that the horses aren't exactly top priority.
No, that horse looked like it was in pain from running. It's
There's also the one where it's like just sort of like it was just like going up and down instead of like actually
yeah.
lifting up.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It's just the animation is not that great. The character designs are pretty awful, and it just in general the writing when it's not about the main characters and how they react around each other, it's kind of not that good. And of course, all of the Ichi stuff, like all of the female characters are just large-breasted women with very little clothing on, and it's just, yeah, yeah, it's just, it's definitely a good take the good with the bad kind of series,
hmm
or take the bad with the good.
That's just sort of thing. It's like it's a fan servicey show with surprisingly good character interaction.
Yeah,
Because you could easily look at that show as like you could dismiss it easily,
yeah,
but and you really want to know that it's actually has very well developed its character so far. At least the War Maidens and the main character.
yeah,
It's like you said, the maid, that servant girl or whatever
made,
she
yeah,
is,
but
yeah, the maid girl. She's really just sort of a cliched character.
yeah,
It's like you said, she's sort of the clingy girl from the main character's past.
yeah, and and like she serves almost no purpose in the plot whatsoever. Like, you could just plain up cut her out of the series and it could all and it wouldn't affect anything.
She's there for a romantic tension or a
Pretty
romantic
much.
rivalry.
Pretty much.
Because I mean, more than likely this is probably going to go the route of a bunch of women vying for Tigre.
Well, yeah, I'd assume so since there's a whole bunch of maidens and stuff. So it's basically a harem ecchi, and it's yeah. If it wasn't for the fact that the main characters are genuinely really well done, I'd probably drop this series immediately. Cause yeah. All right. Moving on. Did you catch the Seven Deadly Sins?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and really liking the what's her
Yeah.
name? Italian girl.
Diane.
Yeah,
Diane, I think.
she's probably one of the
Yeah.
really good characters. Like, how did you say the pig, the Diane
Yeah.
and what's her name? Rebecca.
Elizabeth.
Where the hell I got Rebecca out of? Well, they're actually more interesting characters to me than the main guy.
Yeah.
Like, he has his strengths, I guess, but he's just it's like to
Yeah.
me it feels like here's a main character you have to follow.
Pretty much. It's like he has almost
And but
no.
yeah, Greed seems like an
Oh
interesting
yeah,
character.
that especially that after the
Yeah, like
kids
when the girl fought him,
and
she's like, he's like, hey, thanks for the shave.
yeah. And
And it's actually ridiculous because she didn't seem to make contact with his face at all.
yeah.
And so his hair's cut, his beard's cut, and when she was like apparently focusing on his body somehow, and yeah, his facial hair gets cut.
Yeah. And like all of his wounds are fully healed after getting stakes in them,
Yeah.
and he could be a pretty fun character. But yeah, pretty much all the characters are way more interesting than the main character. Oh, and another thing I'd like to note, like at the very beginning, he basically sends a pink-haired guy into a church, and that basically ends up killing a bunch of people inside.
Just that was pretty screwed up because like
Yeah,
it may not have been the guy's fault that he was thrown because it was Diane that threw him.
yeah,
But it's like at the very least check if people are okay.
yeah.
So
Just yeah, the main character. It's like he's just there to be the main character, and it's like even the fact and he's like they tr they add the whole skeevy sort of thing to it and try to make humor or something, but it just doesn't work out that much well. Like he doesn't
well,
have, you know,
in some like at times it'll work, and then like
yeah,
with the instance in this episode where he pretty much just puts his head under a skirt, just sort of feels out of place.
yeah. It's like there doesn't really feel any like there's any reason for him to be as skeevy as he is. Like he's supposed to be like Wrath, and he does more stuff like Lust than I imagine Lust will be like. But there's just simply he just doesn't have any characterization to him. Like he does have his enjoyable moments where he's being a little bit badass, but
Hmm.
altogether he's pretty bland. Uh,
Yeah.
oh, and all those armor designs of the Holy Knights in that episode, like the bug check, just this pink armor with some sort of giant bug head for a
Yeah.
helmet.
What was her name again? The Weird Guard or something like that, or Weird
The
Core or
weird
something.
fang, I think they were all
Yeah, Weird
called.
Fangs or something like that. It's fitting because just they all just had this like out there armor.
Yeah. And just the whole whip thing, the bug whip and the pink armor with bug designs, it just doesn't work. Yeah. Well, let's see. Anything else we want to talk about?
I can't think of anything.
All right. Any other series you guys want to talk about?
Anakin.
Uh,
Sonic. I don't think. Didn't we? Did was there a new
We
episode?
haven't talked about the newest episode.
Yes. Oh yeah, that
that come out
was.
today because it
His
has
sister has a
Oh wait.
his sister has a palm tree and coconuts.
Oh yeah, that one. And just you see his eye bleeding when you
He
see.
got so angry about it. It's amazing.
uh,
And he just immediately starts screaming when the dude called him on the phone.
yeah.
what was the one epic cock or something like that, or epic, I can't remember what it is.
What?
Huh?
Isn't there something the one character says like epic? I can't remember what it is.
I don't remember.
So if you guys are talking about the episode that came out today, I haven't
Oh,
watched.
I've not talked. I've not gotten. I thought.
We're talking
Wait.
about last week's.
I thought the episodes come out on
Well, I
Thursday.
don't know. That's the one show I have no idea when it comes out on.
I thought it was Thursday because I know. I think I only have Chaika on Wednesdays.
Yeah, I think it is Thursday.
Yeah, I thought so. So yeah,
And there's also Shirobako that we got
yeah,
to talk about, but it's been a few days since I watched that, so can't remember everything that happens. It's pretty much just the process of finishing the episode they're working on.
yeah,
Is what it was, and pretty much like crunch time for the main chick,
yeah. All
and
right.
also showing the process of working
Yeah,
together as a studio as opposed to putting everything on yourself.
yeah. All right. Moving on. Other anime we've been watching. So, let's see. How about you, Alex?
Well, like I said, I've been uh, in the second half of Excel Saga now. It's sort of weird. It's sort of I haven't watched it in a few days, but when that first episode after episode 13, because that's officially when Jessica Calvello's last episode. Uh, when the new chick comes in episode 14, it threw me off a little bit because to me it sounds too after how much of a maniac Excel is in those first like 13 episodes. It sort of sounds like the character's a little the voice actor's trying to make the character it just sort of sounds cuter as opposed to manic.
Yeah,
How Excel is. So it's a little. I haven't so I can't speak for the rest of the series so far because I only watched one episode into the new voice actress's run as the character, but it just sort of
yeah.
felt weird.
It
Like
was
I guess I
definitely.
adjusted to it. I guess I adjusted to it, but it's just
Yeah, yeah. It's those early
oh god,
episodes.
that also that one doctor.
Oh yeah, the
Oh
pedo.
god, oh man,
Yeah,
he's just like pretty much like pausing the one guy to just watch the kids at the park, and then even shows up at the guy's office with a little girl in
yeah,
hand, and it's like oh
yeah.
man.
That's
And
basically
like
happened.
I'd heard about some of the stuff that was in the 26th episode, pedophilia being amongst them. And I was like, when that character hit the scene, like came on, I was like, well, I know what he does in the last episode. So and it's like, oh, it was just so, and it's just so weird because like none of the characters to that point were really that offensive. And then this guy comes along, it's like, oh man,
Yeah, yeah. That's in his entire character basically. And as far as Excel, the voice actor change, I think I was sort of on the same with you at the beginning, but I think I also adjusted to her, and I think she does actually get more of the original, the first Jessica Calvel's run, a little bit more of the crazy as well as she goes along. But I'm guessing it was just because it was one of the earlier episodes, or not earlier episodes, but earlier for that particular voice actress replacing Calvello in the series. So
and I gotta say, their take on a clip show episode is pretty funny.
clip show. Uh,
Yeah, because they're all just like, how'd you rate that clip? And they're just like pretty
uh,
much competing.
oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That those the two review episodes one were probably some of the best review episodes out there
And
because
it's also just funny because I think in the beginning of the 14th episode, they actually had like the director was like pretty much say like scolding the writer of the manga, like scolding the director of the show for doing such a poor job
yeah,
on a clip show episode, or like it's like what was that excuse of an episode or something like that.
yeah, yeah.
And the other show, like I said, I started Tatami Galaxy, and I'm only one episode in. I haven't watched it since maybe like last Thursday, give or take. But I was gonna. It reminds me. It's very reminiscent of in style to the Monogatari series, just sort of like a little more fast paced in it, and also having more male characters in the show. But the opening and closing is pretty good for that.
Mm.
Otherwise, that's all I've been watching. I also, if you know happen to keep track of my Twitter feed, you saw me torturing myself last night watching the Nisekoi OVA.
Uh, I thought Kiss Anime was trying to prevent you from that horror
Oh, it
knowledge.
worked, and for some reason I just, even though I didn't. The strange thing is I didn't even particularly feel like watching anything last night because I just actually wound up reading Kill Me Baby instead, eventually. But I saw that on Kiss Anime. It's like, well, might as well not put this off any longer than I have to. So that's why I just decided to watch this. Like, might as well kill myself watching this earlier, as opposed to putting it off at all. I mean, did you have you watch it all, Stranger, or no?
I haven't seen it yet. I've
Yeah,
been
it's like
saving it for when I'm down for more than Nisekoi.
it's not. I don't think it's gonna be the only OVA either, because that the listing seems to imply it's the first of a few.
Yeah, there's supposed to be a second one in a few months.
Yeah, but like I said, the first half of the episode embodied why I hate the show. The second is sort of it pretty good again comedically, which is why I stick with the show generally.
I loved your tweets last night. I fucking hate this show. Back to watching it.
Yeah. It's like anyway, back to watching it. And I loved how you just like screen capped that as like masochism, sweet masochism. Like and that's like I said, it just sort of reinforced that I'm not looking forward to the second season. Because here's the thing, my brother reads the manga. Where the first season ended was around like chapter 50 of the manga, and it's like at 160 now, 150 give or take. And he was saying pretty much since that where the show ended, it's pretty much in the manga almost all filler, with only like
um,
two or three like small arcs that like take place in the show. And like I was wondering, we were actually wondering earlier if Shaft is going to be like maybe try to get the more like character development like chapters, I guess. But if they go with the filler, it's just going to be even more painful to watch.
oh, it's gonna be amazing.
Uh,
I fully expect the plot to go
yeah,
nowhere. I
no,
do not
no,
care one bit.
like on this show it's going to be you loving it, and on this show it's going to be me, the voice of just dissent or the yeah. It's just like it's like why like every week that we watch it, I'll literally be like, why am I still watching this?
Oh yeah, I like it. And then this one part was hilarious. Screw you, buddy. It sucked.
Man.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's what I've been doing for other anime
All right, all
lately.
right.
Also, oh man, there was also I almost forgot that there were the two No Game No Life like short, I guess ONAs as opposed to OVAs because it seemed more like net animated came out, and I was trying to remember if the humor in that series was as suggestive as the specials were.
You don't remember that super healthy space in that one episode
I can't remember.
where everyone was just nude, but they just didn't have like any sort of nipples or nothing.
I think so. I think I remember that.
Blocked it out.
Uh, there was this one scene that's just particularly bad. It's the guy and his sister. The
Soraya,
one,
sure.
yeah, yeah, the one chick, the pink hair chick, is like having a dream, and for some reason they're dressing each other in the dream. It's like, wow. I watched the first episode. And I'm like, this was not what I was expecting when I clicked on the episode because it's like it has all these like sexual undertones on it in it, and it's like, oh man, this is just not what I was expecting.
Yeah, if I remember right, the little specials that's releasing on the Blu-rays.
Hmm.
Yeah, I
And
haven't
yeah,
watched those either.
have you any idea when that second season supposed to come?
When what is?
The second season of No Game No Life is supposed to come.
There's been no announcement yet.
Yeah, it
Not sure if
might
they're even gonna do it.
yeah, it might end up being read the original works sort of thing.
Hmm. Well, I don't know.
That would kill me because the first season was so good.
But yeah, that's pretty. Like I said, I don't think I've watched any more, but that's pretty much what I've watched.
All right. Me, it's just been Ghost Stories, which I've already talked about.
And SK totally just tweeted me a reaction picture from it.
I saw. I think I might have gotten to that part already as well. Yeah, basically it's just hearing like Monica Rial, Hilary Hagg, and Chris Patton basically just letting loose and make random jokes and references about famous people here in America that that definitely wasn't in the original dub. And like I know Charlie Sheen and Reverend Wright were mentioned at least a couple of times, and Cartoon Network and stuff were also mentioned, which is funny because I think it at some point the dub did get on Cartoon Network at some point, like maybe it was Adult Swim or when Toonami was still the original Toonami run was, but I'm not sure. But just hearing them basically do an abridged series in a as an official dub is just hilarious on its own. And I'm only like halfway through it and it just keeps getting funnier and funnier. Like they're taking stuff less and
Wait,
less seriously at each episode.
who did the dub, by the way? Is that
Uh
Funimation or like Sentai or
Aniplex.
Aniplex?
But there's a couple of people from
ADV.
yeah, IDD. Like there's a couple of people who are now working at say Sentai Works, like Stephen Foster and stuff, which kind of explains some of the humor. But though it does work with this series since they're not taking it seriously compared to other Stephen Foster
Yeah,
dubs.
you said that they mentioned SpongeBob and Teen Titans in one episode.
Yeah, that was like the last episode I watched last night. It was like the hospital one and the kid character who in the dub is basically mentally retarded sort of. So he's mentioning like Cartoon Network and Nickelodeon and stuff like SpongeBob and he mentioned Teen Titans and how he thought Raven was hot. It's just like offhanded mentions to stuff that would most certainly not be in the original Japanese dub. And uh def it yeah, if it wasn't for the dub, I don't think it would be all that worth mentioning of a series, but because it hasn't, because the visuals and all of this visuals and stuff just have not aged that well, even for a series from the early 20s or 2000s. I mean, it's not.
Early 20s. Good God.
There
Made
are
in the roaring
actually
20s.
there would be series from the 20s that look better than this. And they do comment on the bad visual qualities every now and then. Like, I think at one point they're like, "Hey, my legs are moving, but we're not going anywhere faster." That's better
That
now.
reminds me of oh god, that reminds me of this one scene that I've seen as a showcase of the bad animation in the show. Trying to remember what it's called. It featured two girls, and you dropped it last season.
Dropped it last season.
Uh,
Uh,
I'm trying to remember the name. Either way, there was a part in the show where there was a character. He was supposed to be walking, but he wasn't moving at all. So he's just he's like walking in place.
hmm,
And it
let's.
was hysterical because my brother showed me a gif of it. And I was like, "What?" I can't remember what it's called.
Let's see.
One of the chicks was like tan, and had like white hair, or like purplish white hair.
I don't think that is that the Fate series.
No, 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 it's not that. It was they
Purple.
two of the characters. I think a lot of the guys were like just I remember you saying that a lot of the guys were pretty much just treated as expendable, like a bunch of guys just
Oh
died in the show.
yeah, forgot the name.
But you know what I'm talking about,
Blade
right?
and Soul. Yes.
Yeah, it's in that there's like this
Yeah.
one
Yeah. Oh
scene where
yeah. That the
they're like in a
animation that was pretty bad as well.
you just see his legs moving, so he's just like just walking in place.
Yeah. Oh god. That. Yeah. Pretty much all the male characters in that series were. They're basically the equivalent of red shirts in Star Trek. It's like as soon as a male character is introduced in the series, they're guaranteed to like 90% of the time die off in said episode. Like even a kid character, the male kid character will die off in the episode he's in. It's just mm, no, that series was pretty awful. See,
Was it worse than World Trigger?
no, World Trigger just in general was pretty awful as far as visuals are concerned.
That's actually why I don't find the animation in Lord Marksman and Vanadis as bad
Yeah,
as you say, because I've seen there's far worse this
yeah,
season.
there are definitely worse.
That is like if like
I
take it from me, like if anybody listening who listens to the show doesn't have like the eye for animation, like sort of like me, because I'll sometimes see sort of a badly animated show or what people regard as badly animated and think it looks fine, like how I am with Lord besides the horses and Lord Marksman and Vanadis. But World Trigger, yeah, is it World Trigger? Yeah,
yeah, World.
World. That was like the first time that you could just clearly see is like the studio made, who was it?
Toei.
Yeah, that they were clearly stretching themselves thin somehow
Well, to be
with the
fair,
show.
they have a bunch of other
Yeah,
big
that's
shows,
why I
but
said it.
even then,
They're essentially stretching themselves thin with the shows they're doing because like I said, like just that first episode felt so cheap,
yeah,
especially with the still frames and how like I remember the running away
yeah,
animations. Like
oh
it was
god,
like I was watching a show from like 2000.
yeah. Actually, I think Ghost Stories looks better than World Trigger. That's pretty bad. It's like
Yeah.
just there's almost no budget in World Trigger. It seems like they
I think I
just
said it to you the other day. It's like they just told the people actually animating it to pay out of pocket for it. It's like, here, you deal with this. We don't have time for this.
yeah. Oh god. Well,
It's like
see.
I'm just like trying to figure out where the priorities are because
I,
Toei, they do One Piece.
yeah,
So
they're
and then
like
like, and even then, sometimes One Piece doesn't look that good either.
yeah,
But the point is, One Piece is a pretty much a money printing machine
yeah.
or money printer. So it's like, where are you directing those funds?
Well, let's see. They have
Yeah, no.
One Piece. I think they're still doing Majin Bone and what
Yes,
else?
the Sailor Moon, right?
Sailor Moon, and then there was another Magical Girl series, I think. Though I can't remember what it was called. And then there's World Trigger here, so they've got like 5 series. But even then, that's a brand new series. Then I'm not sure how uh, popular it is, but I think it might have been at least well enough to get a bigger budget than it had, because
Yeah.
that was just so freaking low quality. All right, I guess moving on. How about you, stranger?
I have not watched like I literally have not watched a single episode or anything that's not simulcast since last week,
Okay.
and I blame it on me having to restore my computer for like half the week.
Oh God, I've had that trouble before. It was annoying.
Yeah, I have dealt with a corrupted hard drive every few months
Yeah,
because my hard drive's failing.
yeah.
So I couldn't really watch anything, so I just kept playing Persona and playing my 3DS while I waited for it to get back to working.
Mm. All right. I guess if we have, is there anything else we want to talk about as far as series we've been watching?
Nothing.
No? Alright, let's move on to news. So, the only news I have is Valkyria Chronicles, the original, is coming to PC, which I am very happy about because I was a pretty big fan of the second game on PSP.
I'm happy about it because I didn't get the opportunity to play it when I
Yeah.
had it. Because like my
Honest,
sister
yeah,
played it, then we wound up trading it in because
yeah.
we were like, you know, we're sort of like that. Like if there's something that's sort of just collecting dust, we'll sort of disagree that we should probably get rid of it.
Mm.
So I heard that. Like I'm hoping, from what I've heard, it's supposed to be the original PS3 version, like the specs of the PS3.
Yeah.
Like my concern was that it's gonna be like remastered or something.
Mm.
So, but it should be able to work on my computer if it's just
Yeah.
like as it was earlier. So I'm looking forward to buying that. Like
Yeah.
any idea when it's supposed to come out?
I did not look up when it was supposed to come out, but I've
So
just
I know it's
heard.
Sega, right?
Yeah, it's Sega,
Their
which
their
they've,
account said like they said like news soon. I'm just
yeah.
hoping it comes out like sooner than later. As opposed, I hope by
I'm
soon they actually mean like this week or next week as opposed to like early next year.
well, I'm hopeful that they'll eventually release the third game because they've pretty much denied releasing it on the simple grounds that they didn't think it would do that well, which sucks because I really, really liked the second game, even though I never actually finished it. Uh, let's see. Is there any release for the? Let's see. I'm not seeing anything about a release date. Uh, it just says more information coming soon from here, it looks like. So I don't think they have a release date on it. But yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to playing that game when it comes on PC because I don't have a PS3, so I was never actually able to play the first one. So yeah, I'm very much looking forward to it.
But
And any other news?
I'm not sure if you guys have heard of the manga, but Shokugeki no Soma is getting an anime.
Which series is that?
Shokugeki no Soma, but translated it's called Food Wars.
Oh yeah, that one.
That's
Is
getting an anime.
is that one by is that the Shaft one, or is it like?
No, Shaft one's called Kafuku Graffiti.
Oh yeah,
I haven't heard about that yet,
isn't
but
I? Because I thought I remember hearing something about them
I don't think
getting
any
a
studio has been in it. Well, I don't
food
know.
specific anime.
For all I know, that is Shaft, but like I said, anything that I saw hasn't didn't announce the studio behind it. It just showed like art from the anime, how it looks so far.
Hmm. Oh yeah, I think I remember seeing that news as well. Now that I think about it, is that the one chick with the American flag bra thing?
I'm not sure.
Because I thought I saw that in the image of it, but that might have been like some sort of random filler image.
There might be a character that wears that, but what it's pretty much like it's pretty much like set in a cooking school.
Hmm.
This one guy gets sent there by his father because he wants him to be able to take over the restaurant eventually. His like their like family restaurant or something like that.
Yeah.
Something along those lines. And pretty much uh, sometimes what the series is known for is they'll have like sometimes the guy's food will be so good or like pretty much they'll like comment on the good the food is a certain stuff that almost has like orgasmic reactions. And so it's like and you just have these scenes where like the characters are naked and like, oh, it tastes so good, or it's like, and there's even one in the, it's the it was I can't remember the term, the one shot for the series before it got released, or before I guess they were given the guy was given the green light to continue it for Shonen Jump, but there in the one introductory chapter, the one girl like doesn't want to believe his food is so good. She's like the flavor's like touching her is like, no, stop. It's like it can't be this good. And like I said, I'm still at like chapter 20. I haven't read it in a while, but I intend to get back to it,
Mm.
and I'm excited to see the anime for it
Yeah.
because it's pretty good from what I read. Ridiculous, but pretty good.
All right.
Because these some of the characters, like being at a cooking school, make these all like fancy dishes with the guy being coming more from like a basic background. Just does like things he learned growing up, and he's been like cooking since like 3 years old. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's getting an anime.
All right. Any other news you want to talk about?
World
I,
Trigger rights announced by Crunchyroll for North Africa.
Okay. Okay. That's pretty much the only thing I can comment on that.
There is nothing to comment.
Okay, moving on. Games or VNs we recommend. Let's see. How about you, stranger?
Uh, more Persona 4.
Okay. And how about you, Alex?
to keep on the theme of Halloween, I'm gonna recommend The Binding of Isaac
Hmm.
because it's not so much a spooky, but it's very atmospheric for me. Or I thought it was atmospheric with like the religion or the
Hmm.
religious symbology and all that. And it's also just when I played it, it was a lot better than I was expecting. It's like it's simple, but to me it was like very comfortable to play, and had a fair bit of challenge. Like has a really good amount of challenge to it. I never officially like I've seen people like get like every achievement in the game, so I'm not gonna bother with that. But it's just a pretty good game.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Me, I recommend They Bleed Pixels, which is probably normally I don't like very hard platformers, but They Bleed Pixels, just the way they set it up, it's really fun, even though you'll die a lot and kind of gruesomely for a 2D action platformer. It basically has sort of this Lovecraftian vibe to it with the main character. She's when she's in the dream sort of area, she's basically purple, and she her hands become these vicious looking claws. So the way it's set up sort of is sort of this hard platformer where you can die lots, but you can, after you score enough points, you can set up your checkpoint anywhere. So you can usually either uh, set it up near an obstacle if you get enough points, and just go through afterwards. So you can outright choose where you hit down your checkpoint. So it is actually pretty fun, even though it does get ridiculously difficult at times. And that's it for me. Any other games you want to recommend?
I could recommend getting the new Humble Indie bundle because I've heard some good things about the games inside it.
Okay, what's inside it?
Like Amnesia, Machine for
Yeah.
Pigs, Jazz Punk, Risk of Rain, Ollie Ollie, Tower of Guns, Twisted Shadow Planet, and Shadowrun Returns.
Hmm. Nice.
And yeah, I've been keeping up with the indie bundles ever since 5.
Hmm.
So like I was actually saying to Will when I was talking to him, like, oh great, more games I'm probably never gonna play, but I buy anyways because it always looks cool.
Yeah.
Committed now. I've been in it for like 2 years now.
Let's see. Shadowrun Returns was pretty fun, though I never finished it. Jazz Punk, the humor fell flat at times, I honestly felt. Uh, let's see, what else? I haven't really played that much in Machine for Pigs, but I did enjoy the original.
Be a good game to pick up for Halloween probably.
Yeah, definitely. Uh, well, guess moving on, anime we recommend. So, how about you, Alex?
I'm actually just gonna recommend a manga, being that I don't really watch much in the way of horror anime. So, but I did read I'm gonna recommend Frankenfran,
Mm,
which is just a really good horror comedy, essentially. And I'd actually say one of the main characters is probably one of my favorite characters I've read in a manga.
mm,
Because like she's a great character to me. I don't know why.
mm. All right. I'm going to repeat Colin's recommendation from last episode, and even though I'm only halfway through it, I'm going to recommend the dub of Ghost Stories, because it's probably one of the funniest dark humored thing, dark humored or dark humor series, sort of, even though it's only the dub that's actually humorous. But it's basically an official abridged series and basically the equivalent of, say, the Scary Movie series as far as making fun of the horror elements of it. Even though in the original script the horror elements were supposed to be taken seriously, even though I don't think you could take any of the horror elements that seriously. It's just not that aged well as far as visuals are concerned. But
Yeah, right after you started the series on SK told me on Skype if you were quoting that much from the first episode, you were gonna kill yourself with the later ones.
what?
Because he said that it just gets so much more quotable as it goes along.
Oh God. Uh, I'm so going to have to go through Google Images after I finish this series.
It's gonna be posting nothing but ghost story images for like a week.
Probably. Oh God, I really wish the DVDs came with the English subtitles as well as the Japanese ones. Oh God.
Now you need to watch the original version and let us know how that is.
Meh,
It's
pro
gonna be so bad.
probably. Okay, moving on. How about you, stranger?
I'm gonna go ahead and keep up with same theme as Alex did and recommend Dusk Made of Amnesia because it's kind of got like a horror atmosphere without getting like too overly dark for like most of the series, but it's a romance between a dude and a ghost, so it's pretty interesting, and it keeps up with the whole Halloween theme.
All right. Is there anything else we wish to recommend?
Uh, I can't think of anything.
All right. Well, hopefully you enjoyed this episode of Divergence Cast, and a very happy Halloween to all of you if you are listening to this when it comes out, and if we actually get it posted on Friday.
There's a scary skeleton inside of us all.
Yes. And
Shiver and it will send shivers down your spine.
and we'll suck your blood. Or maybe not. Who knows? Just it'll probably be from your ear holes though.
Man, you got
Back.
some weird fetishes.
Yes, I'm totally the vampire of our group. Though I don't sparkle. Too much hair. If you would be so kind, please subscribe to our channel and share this video with anyone who would be interested. You can follow us on Twitter, as all of our usernames and this show's Twitter name handles will be in the description or blog post. Additionally, you can follow us on myanimelist.com and ask.fm if we have them. And, well, that's it for this week. Later.
Happy Halloween.
Peace.